Duke, you suck.
You shut your mouth!
Welcome to the Duke You Suck podcast. And now, Duke Durango.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Duke You Suck podcast. I'm here, and to be honest, anybody that knows me, I'm marking out big time right now. Reaction video specialist extraordinaire, Alex Hefner. Welcome to the show, man.
Dude, thank you so much for having me. Like I said, I'm just as excited, man. I can't believe that people reach out and want me to be on their podcast. It's fucking crazy. So I appreciate that first and foremost, man.
Well, I was thinking when you said you would when we actually worked out a time and you said you could do it, I was kind of thinking, okay, when did Alex Hefner come on my radar? And I honestly don't know. Like it was, I think 2018, 2019 is my best guess. And you were reacting to Metallica videos, hence my shirt.
Hell yeah, dude. Awesome shirt, man.
And yeah, thanks, brother. And you were hip hop head reacting to metal videos. And I thought, this is kind of cool because I'm later in life. I was always a metalhead, and now I'm actually starting to get more into hip hop. So
okay,
I'm familiar with the transition you're going through.
Yeah,
and of course you started reacting to a lot of Metallica, and I love Metallica, so I just got hooked on your shit.
Yeah, man. No, Metallica was a pillar, bro. It's like, Slipknot is the band that really started and propelled the channel into what it was. Before I even reacted to that first Slipknot song, it was just me reacting to music that I knew, which was hip hop. I was reacting to a bunch of new rap and hip hop songs that were coming out, and tried this Slipknot just to see what happened, and it caught some eyes, and then over time developing the niche hip hop heads first time hearing. And then obviously if you're getting into metal of any kind, you got to throw Metallica in there, and that was it was game over, man. I think Master of Puppets, I just went right into it and was listened to that for the very first Metallica song. And I've just fallen in love, man. I think I've gone through the Kill 'Em All project, Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets. I think I've done every song, just like album reactions for them. So it's been such a pleasure listening to those guys.
Well, and it's funny because I don't know how old you are really.
28.
I was gonna say, like, I read about you, but I didn't stalk you that hard,
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, like I'm old enough definitely to be your illegitimate dad for sure.
Okay.
But Metallica was music I was listening to when I was 14 and 15 years old. To see a kid your age get that excited about it was cool for me. And your enthusiasm is infectious. And you know what I really like was always at the end of your video was always like the "Don't let anyone throw shade at you." I don't know why, I've always loved that tagline.
Yeah, man. It's funny, man. Like with stuff like that, it's some of the stuff just pops up, and it's just, some of those catchphrases or something. It's not even something that I tried to make happen. Like the first catchphrase was like, "Have a dope ass day." That was just something random I said. And then I saw a comment one day that was like, "Hey, you say that a lot. It's like your catchphrase." And, rest is history. Throw it on a t-shirt and start, making, spreading that message. But at the end of the day, man, that's just kind of what I wanted to promote. Is I think that you look at metal, it's probably the easiest genre of music to judge for people that aren't into it. So I was just like, that's the message that I want to promote is keep smiling, because like those aren't just words that I say that sound good. I mean, I really want positivity to be out there. Keep being yourself, because at the end of the day, that's what makes you fucking awesome, is your unique individuality that leads to you smiling more. And then don't let anybody throw shade at you, because there's enough of that shit going on, man. So it goes for people that are getting the shade thrown at them, but it also goes out to show that there are people, maybe someone who wants to throw some hate somewhere. It's like, dude, you can be a much more impactful person if you lift people up rather than dragging them down.
Yeah, 100%. And it's, to speak a little bit, we talked a little earlier, my background is pro wrestling, and we, pro wrestlers, and if any of you guys are watching and want to dispute this, by all means, come at me. But pro wrestlers are like the biggest gossipers, way worse than any woman you'll ever meet. Okay. And the biggest shit talkers, we love burying each other in different, if we can bury a guy behind his back, we sure will.
Yeah.
We made it a point on the show not to bury any of the boys,
right.
Really try, because it's really easy to just be negative and talk shit. Right. And that's, even when you don't like a band, when I'm watching your reaction videos, you've exposed me to some really obscure metal.
For sure.
I haven't listened to a lot of Japanese death metal, to be honest.
Yeah.
And even when it's not your favorite thing in the world, you don't knock it. Like it's wild that you just don't piss on it, which a lot of people just take that opportunity and knock it,
Oh, for sure. And, I mean, there's a fine line, right? Like I kind of took that approach starting off my channel where I was like, I'm not going to say anything negative whatsoever because people relate to this and people really love this type of music. So for me to tear it down, who am I to do that? But then, if time and time again, when you're listening to a bunch of different bands and songs and you have the same type of input, it can come across as inauthentic or not genuine. So there's that fine line you got to toe, and just tactfully giving constructive criticism, not hating, not throwing a bunch of bullshit. But just like, dude, I mean, I see what they did. Production value was cool. Like the instruments were pretty sick, but just definitely not something I'd check out. Like, I don't know. I don't really vibe with that. So, just tactfully going about it. I mean, that's the way to do it that I've learned.
Yeah. Well, I even remember I was a young guy and it was the first time my brother I'd ever listened to Slayer. And yeah, he was, we had been partying a little bit. We were having a pretty good time. And I kind of I was like, man, you got to hear this. And I threw on Slayer. I think I would have been 18. So he would have been like 21.
Okay.
And, he kind of listens to it for a minute and I go, what do you think? And he goes, well, it's a bit much, but it's all right.
Yeah. That's a good first reaction to Slayer. Slayer's a pretty intense one that, it's a little gritty, gets people like real uncomfortable pretty quick. So that's not a bad first response.
I wasn't allowed to wear Slayer t-shirts at the house and stuff like that was,
Oh, really? Did you grow up in like religious household type of thing?
I wouldn't say religious, no, but there was definitely like, I remember my brother had a shirt with a guy drinking blood out of a skull from a band called Wasp.
Okay.
And they were a shock band. Like when you listen to their music, it didn't necessarily match a lot of the imagery.
Right.
But yeah, and it was, we weren't allowed to wear that shirt because of course I would steal his t-shirts and shit. And sure. We'd get sent away from the table. If you're wearing that shirt, you had to go, go change your shirt kind of thing.
Got you. Drinking blood from a skull, not the most family appropriate. I get it.
Yeah, no, yeah. There was, you could listen to, I can even remember that my mom listened to Metallica. And she's a musician. My mom taught guitar for as long as I can remember. And I can remember letting her listen to Metallica and she just kind of paused and she goes, those guys can really play those instruments, but they have terrible taste in music.
Interesting.
She didn't knock the musicianship. She just didn't like the music.
Right. That's cool though, because, someone that really knows the instruments and just the music behind it is able to kind of separate those two type of things, musicianship from like the characters that made them. It's really cool.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know if you got this when you were listening to music as a youth that maybe your parents or somebody didn't like, but did you get told you were going to grow out of it? Like, oh, it's just a phase. You'll grow out of it. You won't listen to that when you're older. You'll grow out of that.
No, not necessarily, because I found metal and rock like way later. Like the only type of rock that I listened to was like, Chili Peppers. And that was like 2 songs, like 2 or 3 songs that were thrown into rotation every once in a while. But predominantly it was like, I had a by no means, super rough, but a rougher childhood, a lot of drugs and, alcohol abuse and crazy shit going on in my family. So I used to like to listen to songs that made me that just like, I used to think that like the more cursing in a song, like the cooler it was. So I really gravitated towards Eminem because there's a lot of cursing. And then I could listen to his music and be like, dang, his life is more messed up than mine. So like made me feel normal. So I was really into Eminem and stuff like that, just rap, but never really, talked about music with my family. Like I got a lot of, people in my family that really love music, all types of it, but it wasn't necessarily a talking point to the point where my parents or sister, anybody, aunts or uncles would be like, oh no, that's just a phase that you're going to grow out of. Music was just like there to supplement in terms of, I was always into sports too. So like to get me amped up to play sports, it was never like the mainstay, the core of who I was until recently, where music now creates different aspects of my personality and kind of allows me to form and fabricate myself based on the music that I listen to.
Well, yeah, and it's a wild, to think of what it's brought to your life, right? Like you say, 700,000 followers and, people that, I literally, excuse me, I only subscribe. I'm not lying. If I tell you, I subscribe to 10 channels on YouTube. Yeah. And they're all like pro wrestling, MMA, Alex Hefner, and Sammy the Bull Garbano.
That's so cool. I appreciate the love, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, and again, like I say, it's just, and especially now, you've sort of flipped over. Congratulations on passing the bar, by the way.
Thank you so much, man. Jesus, what a task that was.
I can only imagine. So, okay, you're actually maybe the first lawyer I've ever been able to. I have a wrestling coach as a lawyer, and I've never asked him this. Okay, let me ask you this: how long of an exam is the bar? Like, is it broken into parts? Is it one 8-hour deal? Like, what's the bar look like?
So the bar exam is everything you learned in law school. Like the best way that I can describe it is from every different facet of the law, from family law to contracts to property to marital property to tax law, like everything. So the bar exam is a mile wide and an inch deep, right? And then whenever you go into your career, you specialize. So you go an inch wide, but a mile deep, you get real into it. So with the bar exam, it's a 3-day exam. Every day is 8 hours. So 3 days in a row, 8 hours. The first day of the exam, you get a mock client file where it has like the facts of your client's case, and then it has all this case law. Well, you have to read all the cases, you have to read your client's problem, and you have to write this paper with legal precedents and knowledge about how to solve that problem. And then you have to, that's just part one. Part two is all the procedures. So like the procedure of a case from start to finish. Whenever a client comes in, this is what you do. You file these forms, you go to this court, it's in this venue. That's all the procedure.
Wow.
And that's 8 hours, right? Split up 2 sections of 4. Day 2 is 200 multiple choice questions, 100 in the morning, 100 at night, 100 in the evening, 4-hour session each. Day 3 is 12 essays, all of which are, split up. So 6 essays in the morning, 4 hours, 6 essays in the evening, 4 hours. And that's covering every type of law that you can imagine. I mean, obviously 12 different subjects, but a subject per essay. And it's a fucking grueling monster of an exam.
That is unbelievable. And again, I've never like knocked lawyers or, what's a lawyer ever done? I'm not kind of that kind of guy. Truth is, with the way people talk about lawyers is the way I talk about accountants.
Okay.
I've always, I'm not Joe experienced, but it's always been my experience. Whenever you see a lawyer going after somebody, some accountant somewhere is telling him, hey, you should sue that person.
Okay. I got you. You can knock lawyers all day long too, because I mean, I went to school with a lot of cool people, but a lot of jackasses, honestly. And I mean, to be honest, I'm not practicing law. Like I'm a lawyer, but I'm not actively practicing. My YouTube channel kind of helped me get into different realms. So like having the law degree plus my YouTube channel on a resume, people are like, holy shit, like, why don't you come in to our law firm and answer questions for people when you have it, but take control of our marketing and our social media and help us bring cases on. So I was like,
that when I Googled your name that, you were a marketing consultant for a law firm.
Yeah, exactly, man. So I was doing account management for a law firm, bringing on cases for a firm called Daly and Black. Love those guys. First party property insurance, where my job was to bring cases on board. Then I was working as the CMO of a company in the construction realm and roofing industry. Real short-lived, shitty, crazy story there. Essentially, the dude had no money, couldn't pay anybody, and kind of fronted everything. Whatever.
Nice. That's the best way to start a business.
Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah, and then it kind of leads to where I am now, which is, a consultant, again, for another company, Disaster Solutions, where they provide, immediate resources to victims of hurricanes or any type of weather casualty, fire, wind, anything like that. And I'm doing, marketing and social media consulting for them.
Well, and with our, the extreme weather that's going on these days, that's probably a good business to be in, to be quite honest.
For sure, man. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just like the David versus Goliath approach, right? It's people that are trying to go against their insurance companies, and you're helping them kind of make that happen. Yeah.
Actually, I have a buddy who's a corn farmer in Nebraska, and
kidding.
I want to say 2.5 weeks ago, he sent me a text, and his 60% of his crop was just on the ground.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So he was, we were supposed to go see them, and he's replanting and hoping to be harvesting at the time we were supposed to be away. So, and just like that. So, and that's, I asked him, are you out of pocket or is that insurance? And I got no reply. So I'm hoping he's not out of pocket.
Hopefully not, man. I mean, the insurance company will definitely make it hard though.
Well, especially with everyone in the area getting hit. He said he's never seen a hailstorm that wide. Like he said, usually they're like maybe a mile wide, but they're longer. He said it was like long, and like twice as wide. So,
oh my God.
People.
This would be a whole nother topic, but insurance companies they're not like a good neighbor. You're not in good hands. Anything you see on TV is a damn lie, bro.
Yeah. Oh man. A couple of years ago, I used to own a business, and there was a big flood in our city, and it caused billions of dollars in damage, when a 100-year flood type of thing.
Yeah.
And 2 years later, my insurance went up by like it went from 2,400 a year to 4,200 a year.
Mm.
Just, and I'd never had a claim. So I phoned my insurance company and I was just like, hey, what's going on? And I'd actually phoned them. I had damaged a customer's vehicle, but I wasn't insured for that. So I paid out of pocket for it.
Right.
But I just phoned and said, hey, what kind of insurance would this entail? Like, I didn't even tell him what I did. I just said, what kind of insurance would something like this entail? And so when I asked why the increase, he says, oh, you did call in and inquire about that policy. And I was like, you're kind of making an assumption on something I acquired. And that's what they literally used. So I ended up leaving that insurance company, but that to me tells you everything you need to know about an insurance company.
Oh, it's ridiculous, man. Like I said, we can get into, if we start down that road, it will be a lot of stories, man. But yeah, I mean, insurance is good for some things. My car insurance is awesome. I mean, homeowners insurance is a whole nother story. That's just a beast that nobody wants to deal with.
Oh yeah. Like, God forbid, man. I had a friend whose 30% of his home burned. It wasn't 100%,
oh my God.
but 30% of his home burned. And it was a year. He lived in another house for a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, which,
and that's where, public adjusters or attorneys will come in, and that process takes 8 to 10 to 12 months, it's not quick.
Yeah, it was. And just to watch, I just felt so bad for him because he was constantly, like you say, just battling with the insurance company.
Yep.
And I understand, because you don't, the money he got back from the insurance company, he's never going to pay that many premiums to the insurance company, if that makes sense.
Right.
But at the same time, it's kind of like, but that's the gamble the insurance company takes, but they 100%. Made it really hard.
Oh, they always do. Yeah. It's a nightmare.
Yeah. Anyways. Yeah. Like you say, let's get away from that rabbit hole. Most recently, and what I like about this is your legal background. Most recently, you've been reacting to a lot of the Jordan Peterson, Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh type videos.
Yeah, man.
How are you finding those reactions?
So, I mean, in different ways. So Jordan Peterson, one of my best friends, probably my best friend, Alex Kobe, I've worked with him at all these different companies I'm talking about in the insurance industry. And we first bonded over tattoos and metal at Daily and Black, and we've been friends ever since. But he introduced me to Jordan Peterson, and he was like, dude, you should check him out. He's like, he has some political things, but he's a clinical psychologist, and just, look at what he says, or, listen to him, man. So I checked out a couple of videos, and it's like, oh shit. So really enjoyed what he said. And I've just learned a lot from Jordan Peterson about how to handle relationships, or how to handle life, or more importantly, just questioning what I believe. Right. That's what I try to do in my reactions, is I want to make people think. Like, I like that. So Jordan Peterson definitely makes you think. So that's one thing that I just really gravitated towards. I
think that's what a lot of people don't like about him, is you have to turn that finger inward if you're going to listen to Jordan Peterson.
Oh, 100%, 100%. And people, people like to say that they're open-minded, but not really when it comes to questioning your beliefs. Me, a lot of times I'm like, I am the first person to say, I don't know. If you ask me a question and I'm like, I don't know, I don't know the answer, I'll tell you. And same with my political or economic or social values or views. Like, if I don't know, I'm like, I don't even really know what I think about this. I have ideas that I can see both sides, but I'm willing to listen to both.
Yeah. Often it's okay to say, I don't know enough to not have an opinion.
Right. Right. And that's, that I learned that in the legal profession too, is lawyers are supposed to know everything. Right. And the amount of business and friendships I created by being like, I don't know that answer, but I'll find out and I'll get back to you. Yeah. That was like gold. But Ben Shapiro, like, I just liked his, he's much more polarizing. You can tell that he tries to win the argument at all costs, and he doesn't.
He can be a little more condescending.
Oh, for sure. Very patronizing, very condescending. But I just like to see his approach and argument. It's like I get to live vicariously through him, where, sometimes you don't have to. At least in my mind, I have an argument and then I'll think about the best point ever, but it's 4 hours later when I'm in the shower and I'm like, I should have said that. Ben Shapiro has that shower knowledge on, like, ready to go.
Oh, that's a beautiful way to put that.
So shower knowledge. It's just like, it's so fascinating. So I like that aspect. I agree with a lot of what he says, and he's very extreme. So I disagree with what he says, but at the end of the day, it's fun content for me to watch. And that's, with the whole algorithm on YouTube, and let's get away from music and just try to branch out and do different things. I was like, I watch these videos whenever I'm not making reactions. So why don't I just make reactions to the videos I watch in my free time? And that's kind of the inception of that.
Well, and I mean, the thing is, let's go take a quick chat about Metallica, right? There's the old stuff
Sure.
that you listen to,
Right.
and then there's like the new Metallica that everybody hates.
Right. Right.
And when you try to do something new, you're always going to piss off the old fans
Yes.
to some degree. But I think the fans that are your fans will stick with you, right?
Oh,
because
100%.
I do want to, it gives a little bit of insight into your world as well, into who you are. Because I'm kind of with you, as agree or disagree with Peterson and Shapiro. They often at least can, they articulate a good point. And if you can't respect
100%.
that, there's no.
No,
there's
that's a
nothing
great
to do.
way to put it. They're both very eloquent. And at the end of the day, it's like, regardless of what they're saying, the way that they form their arguments and the way that they form their sentences, it's very intelligent, very eloquent, very sharp. And I think that that's something, left or right, belief or disbelief, like you can benefit from watching videos like that.
Yeah. Well, and anybody that knows me knows that I just like talking shit. Like, I think it's funny. So I'll oftentimes just go devil's advocate with you just to see, and literally not because I disagree. And my wife gets so mad because she knows what I'm doing. She has, we've been together for 27 years. So she has a pretty good idea of where I stand on most things.
Yeah.
And she'll kind of like, she'll hear me say something. She'll be like, she knows that's not what I think.
Yeah.
But she knows I'm just like, okay, let's see if you have a good argument.
Dude, I do the same thing. And I don't have that experience with I've been married to my wife since last October. So like,
oh, congratulations, man.
Thank you so much, man. But like, and I don't know how deep into all this stuff you want to go, but like, some recent decisions
about, lay it down. Let's hear it.
So like with the whole Roe v. Wade thing, like my wife and I had we had it's, hey, not a debate, but like, what do you think about this? And she knows my stance, and I would, take the other side just to see. It's fun. Like I sometimes don't necessarily know how I'd respond to certain things people say. So it makes me want to like put people in the hot seat, and like whatever their belief is, I don't care if it's mine or not. I'll take the opposite of what they say and go for it and just see what happens. And it didn't turn out to be the greatest conversation ever. It wasn't very productive, but it was informative nonetheless. So.
But you learned something, right? I guarantee you learned something.
Of course.
I mean, that I don't even know what to say about Roe v. Wade. Like, I don't like, well, and maybe you can actually shed some light on this, because the conversation I was having with my beautiful bride yesterday was, what precedence has there been in the court to overturn that? Because that was always my understanding of, and I know enough about law to fill like a Monopoly thimble, to be clear. So my understanding would be there has to be some sort of precedence if you're going to change the decision. So do you know, has there been legal precedence to be able to overturn a decision like that?
It's a good question. So, I mean, it's essentially, it's like, it's going to come down to the justices on the court, right? Which is why a lot of people, I think that you saw, Joe Biden come out pretty quick after saying like, okay, well, this is a result of the, Supreme Court justices that Trump put in there. So it's like, it ends up being the decision makers. Now, if you're talking about just the decision as a whole, I mean, the thing about it is like, a lot of people will say that it's about, abortion rights versus non-abortion rights. And it's like, yeah, I suppose, but more so than that, the decision was based on, is it the federal government or the state government that gets to decide this issue? That's what it was. Now, they haven't, at least to my knowledge, they haven't come out with the actual opinion. I know that something was leaked, so I don't necessarily know the arguments that the court used to reach this decision. There's a leaked version out there, but who knows who doctored that up? Like whenever we get the
wait for the redacted one.
Right. We'll wait for the opinion to come out to see what was said. But at the end of the day, it's just crazy, man. I think that today's biggest issue is political correctness and making sure people's feelings aren't hurt, which is fucking stupid in my opinion. But at the end of the day, that's why we need to talk about it, because people's feelings are hurt. So let's just like, if these are those pressing issues that are instantly triggering, let's sit down and be diplomatic about it and have some intelligent conversation, and without getting heated or emotional. I think that that's the best way to do it.
Yeah. Well, and like, I think you tapped the biggest, most important one, take the emotion out of it.
100%.
Like that's always, and I say that because I'm somebody that does, as a younger person in particular, used to get very emotional about these types of things. And that's, as I've gotten older and kind of more mature, it's like, okay, if you can step back, take a look at it objectively, you definitely gain a different perspective.
Oh, for sure, man. And it's not like a light switch that you can just figure out how to do that and it stays on. It's like, it's a constant battle. At least for me, it is, where I'll get emotional too. And those emotions will resurface every once in a while. If someone says, oh, metal's the fucking worst genre ever, I get like, what? What did you just say? Like, I'll get emotional and be like, all right, no, calm down. Like, they can have their own opinion. Like, let's fucking bring that back down. So it's,
I
it's a constant
instantly
battle.
go to really, because that's not what your mom said. Like, I go like hard.
That'll work.
Yeah, please don't punch me in the face later, but this is what I'm going to say now.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh man.
No, and that's the other thing is today, today's the way people think today. And I think that when we take opinion as fact, it creates a real problem. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like one of the things that I've heard you talk about, and I've never really talked about it on this podcast before because I've been afraid for backlash, but to be honest with you, that's the truth. But one of the things I'm starting to not yield on is sexuality and gender. I've now formed an opinion on that. It is fairly unyielding, and I've come to the opinion that sexuality is fluid, gender is not. Right. So because what I'm trying to do is find that middle ground for me. Like when people go to the dog pound, do you ask for a boy dog or a girl dog, or do you ask for the they dog? Right. That's not a thing. So that to me narrows it down. Okay. So sexual, like the gender of the dog is specific. So that doesn't change. Now, if you want to change your, your sexuality, I'm okay with that. Do what you want there. I won't.
So the terms that I see, because this has been a hot topic, especially since I've been reacting to all these videos, so I'll really get into it, is like, well,
you've inspired me to talk about it.
Well, good, man. I mean, these are the issues that, are, surfaced in our society. What everyone is saying is that, sex and gender are different. Sex is binary. The gender is the spectrum. So that's like, I think that's kind of essentially what you said.
Yeah, but I don't have them fancy words like you do.
Okay. All right. Well, no problem. But it's at the end of the day, it's like, it makes me want to bring it back. It's like, I'm super for individual freedom and autonomy. And if you want to do something, whatever you want to do, go for it. Like if it doesn't harm me, if it doesn't harm my family, if it doesn't harm society at large, if it doesn't harm children, which is, kind of the issue that I take with all this stuff going on. Yes. Do you, but I put it one way in a video, this pushed people's buttons, but I was like, you do you, but you're not going to force me to do you.
I actually just watched, that was the Matt Walsh one.
Dude. That. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it makes me want to bring it back and be like, we're all people. Like, can't we just bring it back to that first and foremost? Like, let's at least agree that, hey, we're all people and we deserve happiness. And I think that that's even a controversial topic of like, no, not everyone deserves happiness. And it's like, okay, well, now you just want to fight. So
yeah, well, and yeah, like, I've often said that people just want to be happy. They just think that just happens. And I think that, and again, this is something later in life, I had an epiphany one time that like on a certain level, being happy is a choice, right? Like when you travel and you see people that have absolutely nothing and they have so much joy. And it's just kind of like, man. Okay, man, we think we know. We think we know in North America, man. We don't know.
Right.
Like that to me is, again, where you're, and not to blow sunshine up your ass, but this is where you're so good for, especially for me to watch, because your positive attitude, is so infectious.
Yeah. I try, I have had a lot of family members, had a lot of, people that I've come across in life where it was just constant negativity. Like if they won the lottery, they'd be like, this should have come 6 months ago, like found a reason to be pissed off. Right. And it's like, it's just like you said, man, it's infectious, negative or positive. So I want to be the positive energy. But I think that happiness, man, talking about that, it's crazy. It's the small things in my mind, like so easy, especially in a day and age or in, geographically, the Western culture where already the majority of people that are living in the United States are probably in the 1% of the world. And now that you're not in the 1% of the 1%, you feel like you are inferior or like you don't deserve happiness. And it's ridiculous. And happiness isn't, in my mind, it's not once I have enough money or once all my student loans are paid off or once I finally pay off back this debt or once I finally find that X factor. It's those little things where you have the shittiest day and you come home and your dog is fucking super happy to see you and he's wiggling around and like knocks into a cabinet and it makes you laugh, like that right there, that instant little thing, that's happiness. And you got to fucking, it's weird because it's you got to understand what the happiness is. But the key is you can't hold on to it. It's like gripping a hand of sand. It's like the harder you try to squeeze onto it, the more will fall out. It's like you just got to have that loose grip on it and allow it to flow through. Because if you try to hold on to that happiness, you're going to lose more of it, and you're going to be, it's going to do a disservice to you more so than anything.
Well, and the thing, like you say, you can't trap lightning in a bottle, right?
100%.
And those moments, you gotta, it's the old carpe diem, and it's so, what's the word I'm looking for? Cliche, right? But you got to seize those moments every time they come up. And that's kind of, I wrestled for a long time, and I was getting to the end of my career, and it was like the last year that I was going to wrestle. And, I started wrestling in like 96, and this is like 2018.
Okay.
So I'm just about to quit. And that last year, man, every time I would walk out of the locker room, I would just stop and smell the room. It's the weirdest thing, but that to me is just taking that 1 second. And I can't even remember the matches, to be honest with you, but I can remember that. I'm telling you right now, I will never forget the smell of the room.
Wow. And that's what it is. I mean, right. That's what it is. Like I was at UT in Austin, and like I remember this specifically. I don't have many memories of college because it was just like I was trying to do music at the time, and I was just always focused on whatever craft I'm doing. But I was walking down campus one day, and I was like, I just need to take this in. Just like looked at the buildings and like felt the breeze, and it's like I can still feel. I don't know if it was like the sun or the way the wind felt, but like just like looking at the buildings, I was like, gosh, that's the real memory that I have. So taking the time to really appreciate what you have. At the end of the day, it's gratitude, man.
Yeah,
gratitude.
Yeah. Man, I should just make that on a t-shirt. Gratitude.
Yeah, for sure.
No,
what
because
it's about.
true. Like well, we always get kind of muddled in the problems. You know what I mean? And I can be somebody that's really, if there's a lot of negative people around me, I'll just fall right into that.
Same.
So it's, so I do look for the positivity. And, lately I've been really taking the time to, my house backs onto a little park. So, and there's lots of little kids back there playing soccer and things like that. So I've really been taking the time to sit and kind of watch those kids play soccer and laugh and like really enjoy that, try and squeeze that little bit of joy. Cause like you say, the more you try to hold on to the pieces, the more you lose it. So you have to look for joy in different places.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. That's like that's the 1-2 punch. That second one, that part that you just said, that's key, man. And like I said, it takes it back to gratitude. And for me, I'll get bogged down too. And it's just like everything that resurfaces, everything is a constant battle, at least for me in my life. And whenever I take it back to gratitude, whenever I'm focused on some stupid bullshit that doesn't matter, like, oh, I uploaded a video and it didn't get as many views as I want, or I don't have this much money invested that I want, or whatever, some stupid shit. I'm like, dude, I woke up today. I got 4 pillows on my bed. I don't need 4 pillows. I got like, dude, I'm wearing different clothes than I wore yesterday. Yeah. I got food in my fridge. I got an iPhone. Like, what the hell? I have a car. I got 2 blankets on my bed. Like, what the hell is this? I don't need all this shit. And whenever I like really focus on that, like that's something that people don't have. I'm like, oh shit, life's pretty good. I've already kind of hit the lottery just based on living how we're living, man.
Well, to be honest with you, I've kind of come to that, I'll be 50 in December. And obviously I don't want to die. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And like you, I mean, I come from lots of kids had a lot harder time growing up than me and my brothers did, but our childhood wasn't easy. And so I kind of comment that like the first, 22 years of my life were really hard until I met my wife when I was 22, and she came into my life and things got a lot better. And so for like the last 27 years, man, I've had a good run. So if it's my time, it's my time. Like I've been so blessed. I've been, and that's, I don't want to die, but man, I've had a good run.
Right. Absolutely, man. That perspective is key. But yeah, I mean, touching on your age, you're in the first half, dude. You haven't even touched the second half. Like, what the hell? That's not even.
Well, the thing is, I haven't treated it well. So I'm, if I can make 75, I'll be fairly happy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm pushing nothing but positivity on you, man. I hope you live a long, fruitful life, my friend.
You know what? And the truth is, if like, having a good wife to look after me, and that's the stuff right there. I've got, the people around you, the people you surround yourself with, I think too.
Yeah.
It's I worked last year, and I know he doesn't watch us, so I can talk shit. But I worked with a mechanic last year who's really, 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 really talented mechanic and a really, really smart guy, but ultra negative, like just grinds you down. So I worked with him for 2.5 seasons, kind of. And last year, I just like my job sucked, everything sucked, blah, girl all the time. And then over the winter, I kind of started thinking like, geez, what am I mad about? Like, I don't really, my boss is in Edmonton. I never see him. I never talk to him. I kind of come and go as I please. Nobody yells at me. Like, man, I actually have a pretty good gig going here. I better just shut up and go to work. Yeah. And he hasn't been this year. He hasn't been down here this year. And it's been so much lighter, right? It's been so much better.
Well, it's crazy, man, because it's like, it more than rubs off on you. And it's like, that's why even some family members, I've had to like distance myself and like not talk to them and be like, it's just toxic, man. Yeah. And like to the point where whenever I was surrounded by them day in and day out, I found myself like waking up and just being pissed off, like for no reason. And
the minute you open your eyes,
people would be like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I don't really know. Like nothing's really wrong. I'm just pissed off. And I'm like, whoa, that's not good. Like it got to such a point where it was just my default to be that negative. Right. I was like, fuck that, man. Like I'd rather be positive. And there's still times, I mean, positivity too. That's something I fight with every day. But I mean, it's pick your hard, right? Yeah. Being positive is hard, but also having a negative ass life is hard. Like which hard do you want? Like,
and that's exactly like I always joke. People are like, "Are you half empty? Are you a glass half empty? Or are you glass half full?" And I'm like, first, you're gonna have to prove to me there's a glass. Then we'll continue. I'm such a skeptic.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. No, I mean it's nuts, man. And at the end of the day, it's just like I want people to realize that they have it pretty fucking good. And it's so easy to think of things that you don't have and get bogged down in that, but start focusing on the things that are actually around you and the people that are around you too, because they're not going to be here forever. So that's, that's tough.
Well, and that's, I watched too many mobster movies when I was a kid. So I developed this early philosophy that, you have two things in your life, your word and your balls, and you don't break them for nobody, but the third thing I would add to that are your relationships.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's, there's nothing more important to me than, and I don't need lots of relationships. I need a handful of good relationships.
Yeah.
And that to me is the most important thing.
No, 100%. I agree with that too. My entire life, I've never been somebody who has a lot of acquaintances. It's been 3 or 4 like brothers, right? Like people that I can call at 3 a.m. That's like, yo, I'm stranded. Can you come pick me up? And they'll be like, I got you, bro. Like that type of relationship. I feel like I'm wasting my time if I'm like, talking to making small talk with people that like, it's such a hollow relationship where there's nothing fruitful for either of us. I'm like, dude, we're wasting our fucking time. Let me go make a video. Let me go like hang out with people that actually really care.
Both of us have shit to do, right? Like 100%, really true. 100%. Yeah. Like, and it sounds terrible, right? Because you don't want to sound like you're writing anybody off, but I don't have time for ankle deep relationships.
Right. Exactly. That's a beautiful way to put it. No, I agree.
Like you're either in my inner circle or we'll catch you later.
Right. Right. And I'll be cordial and I'll be nice and I'll be, and I'm not, so naive to think that those ankle deep relationships can't maybe turn into long lasting ones.
Yeah, for sure.
But at the end of the day, it's like, you can kind of tell up front.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, during COVID, right? When the shit comes down, you find out who your people are.
Yeah.
Who's checking up on you, who's making sure you're all right. Who's, but I have a real deep question for you now. This is I've watched you. What are your favorite headphones?
Actually, these are fantastic, man. These are right? Sennheiser.
Okay, because I've seen you get a set of those. Somebody sent you a set. Are those
HD 650s?
Nice, man.
A subscriber actually sent these to me because I was reacting to music with like Beats by Dre. And they're like, yeah, that's fine for like rap and shit. But if you're actually going to listen to some real music, you need headphones that you can actually listen to this music in.
Right.
So they sent me these and there may be better ones out there, but I have not turned back. And since I got these, I've used them for everything. So these are fantastic.
Is that right?
Definitely recommend those. Yeah.
Well, and the thing is, like, and again, you've opened my eyes a little bit. I'm trying to slowly move away because I'm a bit of a Bose whore. Like I will stand on street corners and put outs for a nice like Bose speakers. Like it's kind of disgusting.
I've never had Bose headphones, so maybe that's the clear choice. I don't know, but for me, once I see something I love,
Well, I don't know, man. I mean, are they the best, or are they the best marketers? That's always,
That's a good point. That's a
yeah,
good
I'm a
point.
parts guy, right? So people talk about Fram oil filters, like, oh, they're the best.
Yeah.
No, they're just the biggest market name. I wouldn't put
Yeah.
a Fram on my lawnmower.
Right. No, it's like the Supreme shirts, right? Supreme did a great job of branding and marketing, so they can charge their $95 for a t-shirt that's the same value as Target. It's not like an actual like Patagonia, like nice, type of actual quality. But for me, man, like I've had Sennheiser shotgun mics, I've had the headphones, I've had a handful of their different products, and I've been nothing but very, very satisfied.
Okay.
I've never been dissatisfied with Bose either. A subscriber didn't send me Bose headphones.
Yeah, well, no, and it's funny because it's like I say, I like quality sound. Like I love music. So I mean, I guess you'd have to love music if you're going to sit around and watch hours of a guy's reaction videos while he's listening to But now here's a question: you're the first person I think I ever noticed doing reaction videos. Was it was that something you'd seen, or you just decided to start doing it? Honestly,
for sure.
I think you're the
No, so I definitely did not. I wish I created reaction videos, but before I started, for probably about a year or so, that's the type of content that I watched. I would come home from school and I'd watch people's vlogs, like their video blogs, just them filming their everyday life. And I watched reaction videos predominantly to new rap songs, because that's all I was listening to.
Right.
And that's what I would watch. And whenever I started my channel, I started making vlogs, because I thought that how cool would that be to wake up every day and film my life. And I have this vault of hundreds and hundreds of videos that are like home movies that I can then watch 40 years later, or show my kids, hey, this is what your dad was doing in his teens, 20s, 30s, 40s. And then quickly realized that nobody cared or knew who I was. So I needed to give people a reason to be interested in my daily life. And I was like, I can do this reaction thing. I was like, I see what they're doing, and I feel like I could add little bits of comedy, little cut scenes here. I think that I could be genuine with it. And I just really put out content. I just started, and, the learning process came over the years that I was doing it. It's not like I got so many friends, man, that will reach out to me for advice, and they're so bogged down in like, I don't have all the equipment I need, and I don't have my Instagram, and that I can clip videos and put it on, and they want everything they need right there. And I'm like,
you want it perfect.
It's a process. Like, just use your iPhone and put something out. No one's going to watch you anyway, because no one's following you. So it doesn't matter. And learn the process as you go.
Yeah,
so
that's my sister-in-law asked me how I started doing a podcast, and I was like, "Oh, I bought a $70 microphone and a $30 camera off Amazon and started a YouTube channel."
That's right, man. It's so simple, and just you learn along the way. So, long-winded answer to your question: I did not start reactions. It was something that I made, and there's, oh my god, dude, probably tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of different reactors out there.
Yeah, and I mean, I see a handful, but they just come up in my feed, and I'm like, they're no Hefner.
I appreciate that. That's so much love. Thank you so much, man.
Well, because most of them, like, a lot of them are reacting, but a lot of them are critiquing, right?
Yeah.
Like they just have a different feel, right?
For sure.
Just, and I'm sure, like, just like there's 10 million podcasts out there, right? Everybody got a different vibe.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just wanted to be the positive dude. I was like, I've seen so much darkness and weird shit going on in my life, so much negativity. I wanted to be that like breath of fresh air. People can be like, I had a hard fucking day, man. Like, let me go turn on Alex's reaction, and they can smile. Like, that's what I want.
Well, and that's always makes, don't let anybody throw shade at you. I'm like, I'm not good, Alex. You have a good day too.
Oh, man, I appreciate that, dude. It's so real.
Man. On that note, brother, I'm going to let you get out of here. I've taken enough of your time.
Oh, dude. Well, then if that's the case, and we got to do a part 2 or something, man, because this conversation's been great. So
yeah, you're really easy guy to talk to, man. And you're exactly who you are in your videos, for sure.
I appreciate it, man.
And give my friend a follow his channel, Alex Hefner, on YouTube. What are your socials?
Oh, you can just type in Alex Hefner anywhere, man. But I'm not necessarily worried about the plug. I just want to tell people out there just to create, man. There's a lot of people out there that have a lot of questions about creating, whether that's for yourself or for other people. Just start, man. It's time to start. Whatever you do, just start and learn the process. So forget my social medias. Follow Jordan, man. Follow you whatever you're doing, man. Follow your stuff. Thank you for the love, though, and the constant support, man. It means the world to me.
Yeah, man, I'm all over it. And like I say, I always say, like, I'm a big mark of yours. That's you always got to mark an old Duke Durango, man. You don't have to worry about that. So again, thanks for taking the time, man. I appreciate it, brother.
Always, my man.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your day, sir.
Thank you, sir. You too.
Thanks.
Duke, you suck.
You shut your mouth!